The MG4 really shook up the UK electric vehicle market when it was launched a couple of years ago, undercutting and in many ways outperforming many of the big boys, including notably Volkswagen. MG has now quickly developed one of the most talked about EVs in recent times, the MG4 XPower. It comes with 435 PS of power, 600 Newton meters of torque, and a 0 to 62 time of 3.8 seconds. It comes with all-wheel drive, uprated brakes, stiffer suspension and a limited slip diff on the rear axle. It has a WLTP claimed range of 239 miles. In my test this week, I would say that's probably closer to 200 miles in the real world, obviously depending on how the car's being driven. Rear cabin's still reasonably generous in terms of its space for rear occupants, and the boot space remains at 363 litres. If you'd like to see more about the interior and the boot space, please check out my full review of the original MG4, which is going to be linked at the end of this video. The price for this Supercar S Performance, £36,500. So let's just have a quick look at the interior. Well, it is a quick look because not much has changed since the original MG4. The only real difference with this XPower to any other MG4 I've sat in is the fact it's got part leather, part Alcantara seats with a little bit of red stitching. Feels like a little bit of a shame that they didn't do something more to make the interior feel more hot hatchy than it does. But there you go. I think every bit of money they had with this for the development of this car has gone into the performance rather than the interior. Interior materials in general, they look all right and most of them feel okay. But you'll see just on the door card here, this car's got 6,000 miles on it. It is a press car. They don't always get the easiest life, but it's already showing wear and tear. And you wouldn't get that in something like a Toyota, for example, but then you wouldn't get this kind of performance. The infotainment system, a couple of little changes with that. Main one being the aircon controls. They are still touchscreen based, unfortunately. I prefer a dial personally, but they are now much easier to use sort of on the go, basically because they've made everything a bit bigger. So it's less a sort of precision task to hit the right thing as you're driving along. The Bluetooth side of things is a massive letdown for me because I find it absolutely impossible to connect my phone to this system. I've tried everything I can possibly think of and nothing works. I've never ever had a problem connecting my phone via Bluetooth to any other car, including any other MG. So it could be a problem with this one particular car. Also, the plug-in Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is a bit temperamental as well. Just as I've come over here to film this, I've tried to plug in and just listen to some podcasts from my phone, and I've got no audio on the system. I do have a very unusual phone though. It's a very rare one. It's called an iPhone 14. So you can't expect everything to be completely compatible with everything, can you? I think we'll have to put that down to a bug in this particular car. Again, it's only got 6,000 miles on it. Not massively impressed by that. The steering wheel's really nice. You've still got this sort of centre mark here at the bottom of the steering wheel, and certainly in this car it feels like it could live with being up there to give it a bit more of a hot hatch feel. If that was in maybe the colour of the car or something, that would be quite cool. Nicely trimmed with a bit of leather. You've got nice thumb controls that all make sense once you get used to them. Really simple gear shift controller here, and not really too much else to talk about. It's a nice functional interior, but you can tell that it's been built to a price. I'm not saying that's a bad thing and should be taken as a negative, but don't get in this car thinking you're getting into a BMW. You know, you're not. But the performance is breathtaking. So I think it's time we moved on to the road test. Now, my major worry when I first got into this car is that the accelerator pedal would basically be an on-off switch. And I'm really pleased to say that's not the case. It delivers the power in a really nice, sensible way. Although when you floor it, you certainly know about it. More on that in a bit. You can, in normal drive mode, just drive this car around completely and utterly normally. But if you want to press the squirt button and quickly get past some traffic, you have absolutely no problems doing that. Once you get into sport mode that I'm in now, things do tighten up a bit and that accelerator is a lot more responsive. But still, you know, I'm driving around now under 30 miles an hour and it's completely comfortable. It's very happy with life. Now, onto the performance. It's the reason everyone's come to this video, I guess, is to see what it's actually like. And I have to say, it's unbelievable. It's a monster of a car. The 0 to 60, quite honestly, takes your breath away. I know people use takes your breath away as a phrase, but it takes your breath away. It's astounding. Remember folks, this car's 36.5 grand and you won't get performance to rival it for a new car, certainly, particularly a new EV. I can't think of anything under 50 grand that's going to give you performance to rival this. I really can't. And this is 36.5. And you have to take your hat off to the good folks at MG, really, for producing something that's capable of such incredible performance at really quite a reasonable price. Whilst you could do 0 to 60 runs in this all day long and just grin for days, it's really when you get onto the back roads where it starts to come into its own a bit. And it's just great fun, but it is a little bit fighty. You can really feel that torque and you do have to fight against it. There's definitely some torque steer, even though I'm only doing fairly low speeds here. When you accelerate out of a corner, you certainly need to have a little bit of a scrap with the car. It is an engaging drive. You do have to get involved. Now, every other version of this car comes as rear-wheel drive. This one's all-wheel drive. And those rear-wheel drive cars handle exceptionally well. And in general, that was a cattle grid, not me. In general, I think there may be a tiny little bit more fun. I mean, that 0 to 60 time, that crazy acceleration never fails to put a grin on your face. It just does. Like, it's just hilarious. However, if you're a real driving enthusiast, you might actually get a bit more in the way of giggles from one of the rear-wheel drive cars, which is still no slouch. For the same price as this one, they've introduced that extended range version that gives you over 300 miles of range. 0 to 62 on that's 6.6, 6.7 seconds. So it's no slouch, but it's rear-wheel drive. It might be a little bit more fun around the bendy stuff. But having said that, this thing is a laugh. I do like it. It is good fun. And it does live up to that sort of hot hatch tag, even though it's probably a bit heavier than some of its rivals. That performance is just devastating. Right, I've finally got a clear stretch of road here with nothing ahead. So I'm going to slow it right down. And I'm literally just going to hit the accelerator and we're going to see what happens. Jesus wept. Folks, it's just insane. The other good thing about this car is they've improved its charging capability. We always talk about range, but just how quickly a car can actually charge is quite a big deal when you think about it. Now, if you go to 150 kilowatt charger with this car, you can now get 10 to 80% in 35 minutes, which is pretty competitive, to be fair. Now, another area where this car's competitive, in fact more than competitive, it's sort of class leading, is the warranty. You get 7 years. I mean, can you think of another hot hatch that gives you this kind of performance and a 7-year warranty? I mean, that's very good, and all for 36.5 grand. Now, one area where the car does let itself down a bit is actually with the seat. Although it's nicely trimmed and everything, and it's comfortable enough, there's no lower lumbar support, which seems like a massive miss. And this is the seat you get in all the other MG4s, to the best of my knowledge. It really needs a bucket seat. This is a sports car. You know, this car is capable of Ferrari, Lamborghini type speeds. And at supercar speeds, you want a supercar seat, and this is not it. Now I've just slowed down a little bit here just to give you a burst of that acceleration, and I'm going to press that squirt button in a second. I'm currently getting tailgated by a DPD driver. We're on a 60-mile-an-hour road. I'm doing 40 and I'm now at the speed limit. This acceleration really comes in handy when you want to nip out of a side street or away from a roundabout. I mean, you can get the car into spaces you never dream of going for, and with consummate ease, and without causing any kind of danger to anyone. It's simply stunning. Now, if you really want to put this car through its paces and take it to the track, MG have given you a track mode, so you can keep track of your lap times and all that kind of good stuff. They really have put together a fairly compelling package here, and I feel like if they'd have just spent a little bit more time on a couple of aspects of the interior, and possibly even charged a few quid more for it, because they're so far ahead of the rest of the pack in terms of their price point versus performance, I think it would have been a no-brainer for someone looking for a hot hatch. So really, if you want an electric vehicle that delivers unbelievable performance, truckloads of grip, and still gives you a bit of a fight in the corners as it is now, I don't know, at 36.5 grand, I don't think you can go too far wrong. Me personally, if I were buying an MG4 at the moment, I'd probably go for either the long range version or possibly the extended range version, which is exactly the same price as this, but you get 300 miles of range, because I don't need 0 to 62 in 3.8 seconds on a daily basis, and I actually really like the drive of the rear wheel drive cars. I mean, this is epic. It's got so much grip, but I maybe think the rear wheel drive ones are a little bit more fun on the twisty stuff, possibly. But one thing's for sure, if you're in the market for a hot hatch, whether that be petrol, diesel, electric, hybrid, whatever it is, just come and drive one of these, because you kind of owe it to yourself too. One other thing to mention, although the brakes on this XPower have got some, what I think are fairly nasty plastic covers on the calipers, they've obviously going for a Brembo look. I feel like they failed a tiny bit. I think they look a tiny bit cheap. They do stop you very well, which is the main thing we want from our brakes. It's not quite so important how good they look, and it's a bit more important how well they stop you, and they do a good job. Folks, if you're interested in the MG4 XPower, there's a link in the video description and pinned as the top comment that will take you directly to Lease Loco, and it will show you all the best deals on Lease Loco for the MG4 XPower at the time you click. So go and check it out. It does help support the channel, as do thumbs up, subscribes, comments, shares, all that kind of stuff, and I need all the help I can get. So please click that thumbs up, please subscribe to the channel, and please share this wherever you can. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. I'll see you on the next one.